All right, good people. We are back for another Thursday Food for Thought. It is my pleasure and honor to get to be here again with Malaika Salaam. Hey, Malaika.
Hey, Rachel. Hey, y'all.
Good to see you. Hey. So we're back with our weekly ritual of holding space for some food for thought. It really is meant to be a space where we really have a bite-sized conversation around some things that have been on our hearts and minds. Malaika is a super sparker who participates in almost every Friday pop-up in the Spark family, and we oftentimes make connections to the conversation we had in the Friday pop-up because there are some through lines, and we feel like it's really important to hold space for what's coming up for folks during these really intense times and during times where we need stamina, we need to stay on the ground and in the fight for racial justice and for health and safety for all. And so we've been zooming in on the wellness wheel because we need to pay attention to our wellness in service of staying in the game. So I'm excited to be here for our, I think, 8th or 9th and final session that's connected to the wellness wheel. Yeah, I'll just pass it over to you to share some of the little food for thought tidbits that we want to leave people with this week.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been wonderful to go through the wellness wheel in this way. It has been growth for me, certainly. I have, developed new language around things. I'm actually working on a new wellness like wheel tool or like wellness continuum tool, because what I realized through this conversation is that, self-care is this very broad and general accepted term. And what is required for us for our healing and for our liberation is for us to do deeper care of self, which means that once we get past, I like to say once we, get, this is in addition to, Jesus, soft baths and cake, right? Like those things are all good. Those things are all forms of self-care. But in order for the healing to take place, right? In order for us to be able to make it through this marathon, we have to have the proper conditioning, and the wellness wheel has been a wonderful tool for us to take a look at all of the areas where we can engage in deep care of self. So we started this conversation 8 or 9 weeks ago with the 4 T's. And we didn't start with that, right? Like, again, the natural development, the organic development of this conversation was, these are the things that to take into account. So the 4 T's, as a reminder, were, take a time out, hit the pause button, take a time, do a scan. And in that scan, see if you are tired, thirsty, or tight, and then attend to your self-care needs from there. And so, once you have hydrated, once you have rested, once you have moved, or you have been able to have proper healing touch, what happens next? Well, what happens next is you can get some clarity around, what is it that is really asking for my attention right now? And I think one of the things that I have really gotten solid on through this conversation has been the importance of understanding how the continuum works, right? You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to try to heal everything at once. It's important that we're gentle with ourselves and that we know that healing is not even linear, that it's not just, okay, I have a thing going on, I have checked in with that and I'm attentive to that, and now I'm going to do this work and I'm going to be healed, and that's it. What tends to happen is once you heal one thing, you find out that there's something else under that there's something else driving that. So maybe physically you were taking care of your wellness, and then physically taking care of your wellness, you realize that the physical things that you were experiencing and attending to are psychosomatic, that there was something going on with you emotionally. There was something going on in the mind, and now you need to attend to that. And then when you attend to that, you may find that the thing that was going on in your mind came from an intellectual wellness deficit or a financial wellness deficit, which even we were able to really core down finances to energy. And where are we putting our energy? And so energetic wellness, the concept that it's not just about our monetary finances, but energy as currency. So whether we're using money or time or our talent and creativity, where are we putting our energy? What state of mind does that put us in? How does that show up in our bodies? How does that show up in our environment? How does that show up in our social circles? How does that show up for us as intellectual wellness and digging deeper for the things that we need to feed our curiosity, to be lifelong learners, being willing to learn in public, right? So all of those things have come out. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It is. And I think the reminder, I think it's actually a beautiful metaphor that you're on the road right now, and this is a marathon, and sometimes there is no destination. There's just the road and getting through the journey. And sometimes you have to meet yourself where you're at. And in this conversation, I think our whole commitment has been learning in public and meeting ourselves where we're at. And if we need to take a pause, then we take a pause. If we need to push it back, we push it back, because that's tending to the wellness of our needs and the needs in the place that we're at on the continuum. And I think just the nugget that you just said about, like, you can't do everything at once. You literally cannot stretch, drink water, and take a nap at the same time. So you have to choose one. You have to start somewhere. And I think some people get really frustrated by the urgency that they feel in their heart and in their fire about getting things done. And this is very real, and it's people are dying out there. And so we feel the urgency so deeply. And the continuous thread in our conversations is that we have to sustain this. This is a marathon. It's not just a sprint. We got to stay on the road. We can't drive 150 miles an hour because we're going to burn out the tires, right? And so we got to stay on the road, take it step by step, day by day, choose the layer that we can tend to, the one that's causing the most need and showing us that it needs the most attention. Sometimes that's that shows up through pain, through frustration, through anger, or just literal thirst. But we got to climb one mountain at a time. We can't do it any other way. And I feel like that's the big lesson that I've learned.
That's it. And even in regards to time, something just came up for me. It was a reminder. I did Iyanla Van Zant's One Day My Soul Just Opened Up. And it's 40 days, right? It's 40 days to this healing. And so the first time I picked it up, I made it probably through phase 1. Second time I picked it up, I made it to phase 2. The third time I picked it up was 10 years after my aunt had gifted the book to me, after I had gone through, divorce and just all of these other traumas. And this time when I picked it up, I was determined to get to the end. And there was one place where I got stuck in like phase 3. And I was stuck in that place doing that same piece of work for 5 months. But once I got to that piece of work, there was a flow that allowed me to finish it. And so I tell people, even when something says it's a 30-day challenge or a 60-day challenge, be patient and be graceful with yourself, because your 30 days or your 60 days, or in my case, my 40 days, may take 365 days. And that's okay. That's okay. Keep showing up for yourself. If it feels like you are stuck in one spoke of the wellness wheel and one piece of the continuum, that's okay. Be gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself with the same loving kindness that you would a dear friend or a lover.
What was that called? The challenge or the book?
The book I did was One Day My Soul Just Opened Up.
One Day My Soul. Okay, I'll put a link to that in the comments below, so people who are curious to learn more about that, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because I think one of the traps is we compare ourselves to others, and we see other people further along, or we see it took someone else just an hour or a month or a week or a year, and it's like we can't do that. This is each one of us has a unique way and path on this marathon, and we need the patience and the grace, like you just said. So thank you, Malaika. I really, really am going to hold that close to my heart.
Absolutely. Again, I'm so grateful for this space. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to go back and revisit these things and really understand, how all of these things come together, right? So like you do a thing and you're like, oh, this is great in this moment. And you don't always understand what the bigger thing is that it's going to lead to. So it's wonderful to be in a space where we can have an ongoing conversation and really kind of, come to the end of this part of the conversation with a lot of clarity,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so grateful for it. And I'm grateful that you mentioned the wellness wheel that one day, 9, 10 months ago, 10 weeks ago, however long it was, where I was like, hey, we should talk about this more because it's really important. And I'm grateful that that little spark turned into a flame. And here we are. I've learned so much. And I just, this has been such a reminder for me about the power of a conversation and really carving time to have 15, 20 minutes max to just think about something very specific in community and commit to healing together. So I'm just so thankful for you, Malaika. You have opened up my eyes and mind to new ways of thinking about care for self and care for community. And it's just been such a powerful, powerful journey.
It's, again, all of the sentiments are equally shared. And I am so grateful for the person who connected us through Spark, and just for your heart to, to take that leap and step out and do Spark. Because what I find now is that I can recognize the spark in a conversation. I can recognize the spark that is, igniting a new relationship, a new friendship, a new level of understanding. And so it's, it's just so, the game is so important, but also the theory and the thought and the heart are are they're just, it's so expansive, right? It goes, I don't want to say it goes beyond the game because I don't want to minimize the game. Like, the game is super important, but it's big. It's really big, and I'm really grateful to be here and be connected to that and be a part of that.
Yeah, likewise. And it should go beyond the game. That's the goal, is that a spark turns into a flame. The game is that first spark. Everything
Yeah,
after that, who knows? It should, I hope that more folks feel that level of expansion and expansiveness in communities, because it opens your eyes to the hearts and minds of people, and you get to see how many ways that we share commonalities and ideas, and like, oh, you push my thinking, let's keep that conversation going. Like, I'm just so thankful for what it's allowed for, and the fact that you our paths crossed and that you said, yeah, I'll jump in the spark street with you. Let's do it. Let's talk for a couple months and see what emerges. And it's just been such a gift. So thank you, Malaika, and thank you for making time while you're with your family on the road. Thank you for making the cut. Just like, I know it's a commitment to close things out, and I see you, and I thank you for leading with such integrity.
I thank you for setting that example, because it is always a reminder, and just done with such love and grace. So it is a pleasure to show up. It's a pleasure to close this out in that way. Looking forward to whatever we're gonna do next.
Yeah, I know. So let's hear from the community. What are y'all, anybody in the Spark family and folks who are listening and watching, what's on your hearts and minds? What would you like to talk more about as we think about reimagining what the Thursday Food for Thought might look like in the future? And until next time, it's just been such a gift, Malaika, and I look forward to hearing what this conversation sparks for everybody. And I know I'll be seeing you again very soon in our pop-ups. Hope to see some of the more folks join us so we can keep these sparks turning into bigger flames for humanity.
Absolutely. All right.
All right. Much love, y'all. Have a good one. And safe travels, Malaika.
Thank you. Peace.